It's Cousin Daddy. All right, guys, thank you so much for stopping by the channel. If you could please take 1 second, like and subscribe. I really would appreciate it. All right, today, guys, and a few girls, I'd like to get into the topic of Smith & Wesson is being sued by the families of the shooting at the Highland Park incident in Chicago. Cousin Daddy, can you sue a manufacturer? No, you can't. But guess what, guys? It's being done. And what is happening with this lawsuit? So first off, if you don't know this, you know, Remington got sued by the Sandy Hook families, right, for the shooting. And Remington, instead of going through the process of the courts, instead of taking the lawsuit all the way to the very end, they went ahead and settled for $73 million to the families of the people that got involved and shot in the Sandy Hook shooting. Now, why did they do that? Nobody knows why they do that, because that set a precedence for the rest of the manufacturer to be sued. But they did it because they didn't want to get involved, and they didn't want to have the name of the Remington slandered through the mud any further, and they just went ahead and pay out for the respects of the families, right? They weren't taking, basically, they're saying, oh, our product did this. They're just paying the families outright, saying, you know what, guys, we're sorry for everything that happened, yada, yada, yada. But, you know, they're not taking, you know, full ownership. So when the families turn around and sue Smith & Wesson, we're all looking at it like, now, man, this is the thing. Because if these lawsuits continue to happen, and this is actually what's going to start happening in the gun market, then, man, the price of weapons and the price of everything related to firearms is about to go through the roof, to where the working man, the poor, the blue-collar worker aren't going to be able to afford anything to be able to protect themselves with the taxes and the stamps and the stuff that's going to be going along with this, right? Because if the lawmakers, if the manufacturers are getting sued every time they turn around, paying out these billions and millions of dollars, they got to coop their money back somehow, right? So how is this even possible, right? So can you sue a gun manufacturer? That's the whole thing. And guys, no, you can't. And why? Because in 2005, the Protection of Lawful Commerce Arms Act was passed. And that act is to protect gun manufacturers from being sued for guns doing what guns do. Right? So well, Cousin Daddy, if that's the case, if there's an act that was passed in 2005 that eliminates the lawsuits of a gun manufacturer, how is it that these companies are starting to get sued? Well, let's dive a little deeper. And here's the thing, in the act itself and in the paragraph, there is an exception. And basically what the exception reads is an action in which a manufacturer or seller of a qualified product knowingly basically markets or violates a state or federal state applicable to the state or marketing of the product, and the violation was a proximity cause of the harm done. So, in layman's terms, they're basically saying that the gun manufacturers are marketing to the younger environments, and they're marketing in a military way that is dangerous and harmful. So that is the loophole that is happening with this lawsuit. And that's the loophole that was happening with the Sandy Hook case with Remington. And that's going to be the loophole for the Uvalde shootings with Daniel Defense. And Daniel Defense is right around the corner. Everybody knows that. But guys, this is a thing. And when we look back on how the people are starting to take away the rights of the gun owners, we think about how they can do it. And I'm going to be honest with you. You know, they're always coming after the guns. They're always coming after the magazines. They're always coming after this. But I'm going to tell you something. When COVID hit, and it got to the point to where you couldn't get ammunition, everybody started waking up. I started waking up, and I was like, oh, man, I better go get, you know, all the ammunition I can, because they're going to start taking the ammunition. If you want to shut down the gun industry and you want to shut down people from, like, having firearms, then what do? Well, you take the ammunition, like a slingshot. If you want somebody to stop shooting rocks at a sling, you know, with a slingshot, you take the rocks. And what started happening is we started noticing that you couldn't get primers, and then you couldn't get cases, and then the gunpowder started running low, and then all of a sudden you couldn't get 5.56, then you couldn't get 2.23, and then you couldn't get 9mm, SP. And then it was just like you could only find like shotgun ammunition. And I was like, man, this thing has actually happened. This is what they're going to do. This is how they're going to take our weapons from us. They're going to take the ammunition. And it become a real thing. And this is the next thing that's happening. Because this applies to not only just the gun industry, but man, this applies to everything. Cars, toys. I mean, anything that's being manufactured, people can turn around and start using it that it's going to be, marketed a certain way and start suing everybody for everything. And it's the same scenario as like sports cars, right? Like sports cars are marketed in a way for speed, for the sleekness, for, the fastness, the sportiness of the sports car, the big motor, right? That's how it's designed. And if somebody, kills somebody in a sports car, then you're just going to be able to turn around and sue the manufacturer, stating that, oh, you marketed that sports car that person bought to go fast. That's what they did, and they killed somebody doing it. Now you're reliable, and you're on the hook to make the payment. Guys, this is scary, scary, scary stuff. So if this really, starts to take place and Smith & Wesson takes a fall on this lawsuit that is unconstitutional. Oh my God. I mean, it's already got to act on it, but it's unconstitutional. If they don't stand their ground, and Daniel Defense behind them don't stand their ground and take this case all the way without pleading out, man, there's going to be some problems and there's going to be some issues. But guys, take a second, if you please could, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about what's going on with this case. Follow this case. This is huge. This is really going down. So guys, I want to thank you so much for stopping by. I'm going to let you guys enjoy the rest of the day, and let's go to A.